So most of you know this, that you probably 100% do, but yesterday I made a 2-hour-long video about what if Damien Void was in Black Clover, and it was a full movie with no separate parts. So what am I gonna do? I made the Damien we have currently a flipping 5th class. So what else do you expect me to do but put him in God of High School? To be honest, to the people who don't know what God of High School is, and what it was supposed to be originally, it was supposed to be a tournament of different high school students. For them to be the God of High School and have one wish granted, no matter what. Well, as long as it's in the wish granter's power. Like healing injuries, or possibly reviving someone as well. And what's the power system? Charyuks. Charyuks come from beings, or godlike beings. Sorry. They'll give you powers, and those are Charyuks. I really have no idea how to pronounce them. I'm just gonna call them that. And Charyuks could be anything. Pyrokinesis all the way down to healing. Possibly even reviving people, teleportation, controlling the wind, having powers like Sun Wukong. Totally ain't spoilers. But to start this movie off, Damien Void is just flying around. So as you know, this is my own verse, and this Damien Void started as the 4th class Damien Void we had. So yeah, this is kind of like inter-seasons. So basically, after the Calypto arc, the My Hero thing, then after a few more arcs, the Black Clover, now we have this. Thankfully, unfortunately, couldn't think of anything else because I don't really know their storyline. To be honest, could have done Naruto, barely, but Anyways, we start the journey with Damien, the 5th class variant, flying around, finding new worlds to bind, and hopefully not flying into an anime world. Like the last 2 times. Although, to be honest, it could be a very massive power-up for him. So, yeah. It is you. Anyways, after that, he just finds a planet that is totally not similar to Earth in any inexplainable way. And after that, he gets a system message. And the system message says, to leave this world, you must... Nah, he doesn't even care. He tries to leave, but it seems like this one is a higher level message. He can't leave this one. By this, I mean basically the stronger the people are in the world, the stronger the message would be, and so he can't escape from this. I mean, this is literally one of the strongest verses in the anime world. What the heck else do you expect? So anyways, after that, Damien is just walking around on buildings. Because, I mean, who would want to see a person wearing a universal cloak and some other drip? If you you want to know what I mean by that, go watch the last 2-hour video. It was near the end of it, so yeah. I'm surprised by never mind. And after walking around, he sees totally not Jin Mori walking around with 2 other people. I really forgot their names. And they seem to be heading towards a massive tournament. He also looks around and he sees another person wearing a business clothes, trying to find people to give cards to. However, he spots Damien and blitzes towards him. Hi, sir. Would you like to be part of the God of High School tournament? And Damien immediately realizes, oh, hell no, man. This really is another anime world. So he just accepts. But then the person with the business clothes then punches him in the stomach and says, "We have tests so that you can actually get in. Get the card yourself." However, right before anyone could react, Damien stands up and blitzes towards him getting the card before even he could see it. And he's not just some normal human. If anything, he's probably continental at least. So this is a shock to him. Well, however, it isn't really that simple. He tries to activate Chariot. Black Demon Lightning. Damien could hear him saying that, even though he whispered it. And he realized, isn't that one of the strongest lightning versions in the universe? How does he have access to it? Must be a chariot or something. But he still got the card even after dark black lightning with a purple aura exuding out of it was released. They could barely do anything. After that, they turned off their chariot and just went away. And also shouted, "The tournament starts in 2 days. Make sure you go to that big building." Damien is surprised, to say the least, and then looks at the 3 people who seem to be helping each other to chase a bandit, and is shocked. I mean, literally, the 3 of them are superhumans, building level at least, so how come they can't even catch a bandit? Surprising. So Damien just blitzes in front of the bandit and punches him in the stomach. In any normal case, this would have caused a hole to appear in his body, which it certainly did. So in that split second, he used his Samsura attribute along with his heal trait to heal him. Technical difficulties. It literally was. But anyways, after healing him immediately and stealing the purse, he blitzes back to the old lady, gives it to her, and blitzes back to the area. Seeing Jin Mori and the 2 other people get there. Right after he did all of the work. And Jin Mori is already sensing a very powerful opponent. Looks at Damien, the guy with the universal cloak, black hair, black eyes, who just destroyed the purse snatcher, stealer, Brandon. So yeah, I don't know why, but Anyways, after doing that, he just tries to leave, but Mori, or Jin, let's just, Jin Mori, just catches his shoulder. It says, "Hi, buddy. My name's Mori Jin. What's your name?" Yes, Google calls him Mori Jin for some reason. In fact, I'm pretty sure most people call him Mori Jin for some reason, and I have no idea why. I just want to call him Jin Mori. You could call him Mori Jin. I don't care. But, And Damien responds, "My name's Damien. Reason for catching my shoulder?" He said with an indifferent face. Jin Mori then says, "Oh, I just think you're really strong." And I felt like that guy lost his aura for a second. And Damien knows what he's talking about. I mean, he killed him, but revived him, albeit with a little bit more strength as well. And by a little bit more, I mean he literally sent him to building level. However, he was knocked unconscious. But that shouldn't be, totally isn't enough to escape prison. And he could always just take back the mana inputted into that fist, which, to be honest, it was barely any, and make himself tinges a bit stronger, while making that guy way weaker. So he had nothing to worry about, of course, unless that guy refined that energy, which literally no Churiok can do. Anyways, Damien tries to walk away again, which thankfully works. And we can just skip 2 days, because in these 2 days, Damien was trying to refine and comprehend water. Because until now, he's only been using normal, stupidly natural water that just has a lot of destructive power. He wants to make it something else. Practically every tinge of it had the power of destruction and the void, making it dark blue water. However, he could barely do that, especially since he only had 2 days. 2 flipping days. So he just gave up. And, well, he didn't really give up, but no. Anyways, after the 2-day time skip ends, he just blitzes himself to the stadium, gives him the card. He's allowed in to the waiting room, where all the other participants are. A few hours later, they're all called in, and one of the judges says, "Okay, this is the test." Everyone is confused but Damien. And he shouts out, "Basically destroy and defeat people with lower numbers than yours, and then you can pass." After shouting this out, and the judges themselves are confused, everyone battles each other. And Damien also got a few challengers. I mean, people thought he was all talk. I mean, the guy literally has a cloak that resembles the stars, but with 1 punch each, he could literally kill them for a split second, but had to revive them. And all of these people were building level? Way weaker than Julius, though. So then he just decided to go on a kill streak. After using, he just decided to use his CVF. Wait, no. I need to give that a new name. Devour Flame. Yeah, Devour Flame. Like, yes, it's still black. Lost its white, though. Also crimson, too. So, while using that, he practically set the arena on fire, destroying a few people, and then retracted it. Unfortunately, he used a sword art. So, yeah, he was thinking of making a fist or gauntlet art. Possibly even a gun art. However, I can't really use a gun art in a tournament of fists. However, he's been advancing too much on his void sword art. So, maybe he should make a fist or gun art with his Samsura or flame element, possibly even others. But, can't really do that now. But anyways, after compressing all of the Devour Flames that he just released, then sent a blast to the strongest person nearby, which was Mori Jin, or Jin Mori, which is barely managed to dodge, but that took out a few other people. And everyone was surprised. Now just realizing they could use their Churyuks. Powers were flying out of the arena. And people started using their respective arts. And people even started using wooden weapons. And after realizing they could use wooden weapons, Damien immediately created a wooden sword with his Samsura attribute. And then spoke with the coldest tone to the point where no one could hear him. Void sword art. Second form. Horizon break. Reality kind of collapsed on himself as he pierced forward, aiming towards some random guy. Thing is, this horizon break didn't actually do anything, and it was more of a test version. And it was just a very, very, very powerful air current that ignored the distance. So he immediately sent that guy out of the arena and knocked him out. Void sword art, third form, Dance of the Void. He blitzed throughout the arena, destroying hundreds of people who would want to partake in the tournament. And anyone else who was using swords was amazed. After all, his sword was beautiful yet destructive. It seemed to be covered with this dark energy, which deflected anyone who used a chariot attack on him, whether it be ice, wind, even some invisible attack. Especially since it was seemingly always covering his body. After that, he decided not to waste so much energy, even though it was barely anything, on just a wooden sword. So he destroyed it. And then he took apart some of his cloth and made a universal sword. Stronger, lighter, harder, what the... One singular slash destroyed hundreds of participants. However, that's all I could do before big guy with people locking him down walking into the arena. A few minutes later, he was fighting Jin Mori and had a bump on his arm because of him. So Damien decided to do something. Void Sword Art. 5th form. Dimensional Severance. Equinox. Basically, Dimensional Severance Equinox is when he slashes in one direction that also causes a multitude of other dimensional severance is coming from his own dimensional severance to be released from it. However, they were all aiming for one opponent. Him. I actually forgot his name. Hey, look, I don't really know God of High School. I do not. So yeah. After sensing that an attack was coming in his way, he immediately tried to dodge away, which he barely could, but the stadium was destroyed. Thankfully, Dimensional Severance wasn't one of his more destructive attacks. It was focused more on actually hurting the opponent. So you didn't really have to worry about anything with the stadium. However, it was still extremely destroyed because of Dance of the Void. So much so that one of the judges shouted out, "No more using that technique of yours, or else you're out of the tournament." Because of this, he had to destroy his sword and put it back into his cloth, which practically also acted as a dimensional storage, by the way. Also because since practically all of his power sources were connected to the void and were infinite, these two dimensional boxes, were connected to the same place. Meaning he could use both of them to put items in a dimensional box, so they would always be in the same place. After that, the battle continued with Damien destroying hundreds of people every 30 minutes, and it was a show for the watchers. And at this point, everyone was just watching him elegantly destroy everyone. Of course, unfortunately, he couldn't use his Void Sword Art. However, he was still destroying everyone, and everyone was wondering what was his chariot. Blast, blast, blast. His Devourer Flame was blasted everywhere, destroying a multitude of opponents. However, just as he was about to fire once more, "That's enough! The tutorial has ended!" Damien had the most points and broke practically every record. 10,000 points. He destroyed 10,000 people each, killing him. So he got 10,000 points. He broke record after record. The previous higher record was 9,500. However, he just broke it with a whopping 10,000. I don't really know how the point systems work in God of High School. So yeah, tell me if I should lower the number in the comments. Can't really do that, but if the number should have been way lower or something, or possibly way higher. After that, everyone was leaving the stadium, and Damien was getting look after look, and everyone was finally noticing that beyond the cloth was a really handsome person, which never actually got acknowledged in Black Clover. So, yeah. after leaving and not having a house to stay in, Jinmori comes to him and says, "Hey, Damien, want to go to my house to visit or have a sleepover?" Damien just says, "Sure," and he just starts following Jinmori. And he just says, "Aren't you going to get some things?" He responds with, "I have a dimensional box. No problem." And Jinmori is confused. And he just has to ask, "Okay, what was that sword art? Those flames, too. And anytime your sword was broken or even relatively damaged, you could just fix it. How?" And he just responds with, "It's what you guys call a chariot, is it not?" And Jinmori is confused and asks, "What's a chariot?" And Damien responds with, "Chariots are basically powers given by supernatural beings. Matter of fact, a lot of people in the tournament don't actually have chariots, but practically every judge does. And you never know, maybe you can get a chariot someday. And just so you know, the beings which give chariots are gods." So, there's a reasonable answer to why they're so rare and hard to get too. You have to please a flipping god. And Jinmori is amazed. I mean, how did so little people, yes, even though it was a pretty little amount of people, how could they please gods? And Damien responds with doing certain actions. Heck, some people are even born with chariots. Like I was. It's a multitude of chariots combined. And Jinmori is shocked. Multitude of chariots combined. Multitude of chariots combined. Pete's in his head. I mean, how can a person have multiple chariots? The only other thought, other than just having multiple chariots, would be to steal or devour other people to get them. Which technically was what Damien did, just not on any humans. Well, he did. Well, they weren't really humans, though. They just had humanoid features. They really weren't. So, yeah. Days later, everyone is fighting their matches, including Damien, who is obliterating everyone in his path. And right now, he's facing that big guy he fought during the tutorial and practically destroyed. And he's practically just itching for revenge. Time to destroy this guy. Man, that was cringe. Pretend that I did not say that. Anyways, I have no script. Anyways, this is all new to me. Anyways, the battle starts, but it ends as soon as it started. Literally like every other match, since Damien was barely using 1% of his power. However, he was a person who had taken his 3rd step into divinity and almost his 4th step. Yes, 4th step into divinity. And just so you know, his universe or multiverse's gods are way stronger than any other person's gods, because his gods can't even stay in a universe. They can't. They can't. They really can't. They can't stay in a universe because a universe can't hold a god. So yeah, planet can barely hold a god. Universe practically can't. So yeah, planet can barely unless the god practically seals all of their power. Same with the universe as well. So yeah, a fourth step into divinity is insane. So every step he takes, he was getting practically 100 times stronger. So yeah, he's practically the level of a supreme in his own verse. In fact, probably like 100 supremes. Because he was practically the equivalent of partial divinity. Divinity. The third step into it. So yeah. Anyways, after easily destroying the match, we can literally skip to like near the end of the series because nothing interesting happens until then. Because they were having a 3-way match. Jinmori Jungbang-chan. I have really forgotten his name. The guy who thinks he's a god. Even though even the person stronger than him isn't. And just so you know, Jinmori's Monkey King form is nowhere near a god in Damien's verse. I mean, I'd have to say at least first or second step into divinity. At least. The Buddha form is like, that's probably a true god, but he's nowhere near that currently. But anyway, the 3-way match starts with Damien, Damien, and Jinmori launching themselves at each other. Well, to be honest, they didn't even wait since my guy, Damien, just absorbed one of his teammates. And he just shield. Damien shouted out. And Jinmori kicked his shield but got massive rebound. Damien, being more smart, brought out Mirage and slashed through the shield with ease. However, Jungbang-jin was already above him, prepared to be devoured. The power is mine! Void Sword Art. 7th form. He didn't really get to finish his 7th and 8th form. Void Equilibrium. Suddenly, the space of Jungbang-jin and Damien turned into an endless void. And Damien teleported out of there. I mean, Void Equilibrium is his strongest attack. Yes, it may not have that much range, but it'll be fixed in the future. Sooner or later, it'll have the range of a nuke, possibly even a black hole, and that'll be disastrous because it can create temporarily an endless void. An endless void. Endless void. Endless void. Endless void. 34 minutes? And his Jungbang-chan manages to teleport out of there as well. However, Jinmori already has his leg to his face. And he gets almost sent out of the arena, but stops himself, having superhuman strength as well. Damien then flickers himself out of reality, getting right in front of him. Celestial Authority. Mini Starfall. He creates a giant meteorite made of space mana. After that, he capsulizes it and turns it into a mini ball of space mana. After that, he launches it at Damien. Of course, this thing was anything from a black hole. It was just a capsule with a ball of space mana. But any of Damien's mana is purer than Wood Force. So yeah, his planets Wood Force are godlike, but yeah. Anyways, Damien, having no time to react, is sent out of the arena. However, he can't accept this. Suddenly, he tries to use his chariot again. Gluttony. Devour everything! It was kind of like Damien's Devour, except a much more brutal death. However, practically the opposite of Damien's Devour, because Damien gains way more power from it, and it's a painless death. But this Gluttony, monstrous. Wood's Order, first form, Bladeless. He cuts Jungpangjim's clone in half, creating a massive crater. However, it's too late, supposedly, for he's behind him. Gluttony, do your thing! Devour it! Seven stars encircling the moon. World Force generated around his fist, along with Celestial Authority. And suddenly, a moon appeared right in front of his fist, along with 7 stars encircling it. Suddenly, his fist made contact with Jungpangjim, launching him into the sky. However, it was too late. Outside of the stadium, there was this massive god statue. And a nuke was coming their way. Jin Mori also jumped into the air. However, by this time, Damien already used Bladeless to cut the nuke in half, while also sending its debris into space, creating a nuke in space. However, he didn't care about that. And he used something that he never thought he would, especially against stronger opponents. And at least not until a war happened. Atomic. He pressed 2 atoms together. And he created a ball. This white ball wasn't any ball. If he were to release it in this compressed form, which was also strengthening it, it would be more than a nuke. He needed to teleport Jungpangjim far away into space so that he could use it, or else he would just destroy the planet. So he added this onto his Mirage, making sure it disappeared onto Mirage's dimensional space so that he could use it later. And blitzed at Jungpangjim, who had wings on his back, flying towards Jin Mori, who had the key. And everyone by this time was already teleported, yada yada yada. He got the key, Damien didn't do anything. But now, Damien had to. Jinmori was in his Monkey King form. Thing was tightening on... A binding was tightening on his head. However, he was still destroying Jim, but nowhere near Damien's power level. He barely took a step into divinity. The first step. Way weaker than he thought, but still kind of a god. So he thought, why not do something? He summoned his black lightning and sent it towards Jim, blasting him in space. Way more in space after Jinmori used his. Yu Young, I really forgot the stick's name. Anyways, he put it in his gigantic form and blasted Jim into space. Damien just did the finity touches. Mirage, release, atomic. Mirage, being a pseudo-conscious weapon, felt like a massive weight was pulled off of it, as a white energy blast escaped from its blade, heading straight towards Jim. It hit Jim, and it seemed like Jim was gonna turn into a god by absorbing that energy, but his arm was blasted off. All of his other limbs were blasted off except for his head. A giant explosion the size of 10 nukes put together happened in space. Massive radiation was in that space. However, suddenly